What's going on, guys? It's Zoe with No Days Off DFS here to bring you my NBA prize picks prop plays for today's slate. Honestly, on this video, I'm actually going to cover NFL prop as well, one of my favorite ones for today's slate since it is Thursday night football and we only have 3 NBA games. Definitely on slates like this, I suggest that you guys don't blow your whole bankroll, things like that, unless you want to mix in some hockey or college basketball. We do have all those other sports going, but if you're mainly playing NBA on Prizepicks or any of these other prop betting sites, definitely conserve your bankroll. It's only 3 games, and trying to find value is definitely something hard. If you guys don't have a Prizepicks account and you want one and you want to play some of these props, check down the link in the description below so you can get deposit match bonus and play these props too. Also, if you would like to see my full list of plays, check out the Patreon. The link for that is also down in the description as well. I'm going to be honest, very honest. This week has not been the greatest week in the world. Definitely a lot of blowouts, players not playing to expectations, but still pumping out these videos. Definitely going to still grinding. I'm going to be going a little bit shorter on today's slate. Not going to play as heavy as what I normally would, especially just being 3 games and, conserving bankroll. One of the things about betting is definitely being conservative and knowing when to keep going in and just to stay to that bankroll management, not going heavy and things like that, trying to pick up all your losses, because that is definitely how we're going to blow our bankrolls and things like that. So with that being said, gonna go over a couple of plays that I did find today that I did find some interest in before they dropped the full board. Was already looking at some of these plays, and then as they popped up, gonna try to hop on them before the value is gone. Again, if you want that full list of plays before the value disappears and stuff like that off the board, I've already put a lot of these plays up on the Patreon, so definitely check that out. Definitely check out my boy BK. He's been killing the hockey scene. He almost hit the new 6 pick that they have over here on Prizepicks. That's actually pretty interesting. 25x your winnings for that. Granted, it's already been hard to hit a 5 pick, but now to hit 6, I know a lot of people are going to be chasing that. I'm going to make a video on that separately in regards to exactly which props we should actually be playing and betting and a good betting strategy over here on Prizepicks. But nonetheless, let's go ahead. Let's jump into some props for today's slate. I got a couple of them that I'm looking at over here on Prizepicks, but let's cover that NFL prop. I'm going over to the NFL. First play that we're going to talk about, and the only play, is going to be my guy Derrick Henry. Just looking at it, he's been a beast. He's been a monster. Of course, to start the season and just ramping up over the last couple of weeks. Last week, going up against Denver, he faced a pretty good Denver run defense, and they definitely kept him in check. Only 53 rushing yards on the ground, but as you can see, he was definitely going over that over the past 3 games, or past 4 games. And then his rushing and receiving, because we do know he is used a little bit in the receiving category, only has gone over his touchdown prop 3 out of the last 5 games. 19 fantasy score, he's only gone over that in the last 3. And then of the receptions, like I said, he's used a little bit in the passing game, but actually not too much. Out of all these props, of course, the biggest prop that I do like is going to be the one that's going to be a 50-50 split. And that's going to be Derrick Henry to get a rushing touchdown. Now, when we look over here at the Vegas lines, he's a -150, which is pretty good odds for him to be an anytime touchdown scorer. Most of his touchdowns do come by way of him rushing. I'm not really too concerned in regards to him catching a touchdown by any means necessary. Just looking at it and looking at the metrics, Green Bay, they're not really that great on the ground going up against the run, and we know Derrick Henry, he is that north to south runner. He's going to bulldoze people. I mean, the guy's like 6'6", 6'7", possibly freaking weighs a ton, and he's just bulldozing over people. Really hard to tackle and take down. And as you can see, Green Bay, they're 30th in allowing 122 rushing yards. And just imagine that. You already know if they get in the red zone, they're 5 yards away. They're going to typically give it to Henry, let him bulldoze his way in and things like that. As you can see over here, looking at Line Star, he's the highest projected player, and that's pretty much banking on the fact that we're expecting him to get a touchdown. So I like this 50-50 coin flip. Definitely going to be a play that I'm going to have mixing in with a couple of my NBA plays for today, mixing in with a couple of my hockey plays and things like that. But definitely Derrick Henry, that 0.5 rushing touchdowns, and I don't hate his rushing yards, but really that touchdown, that's the one that I'm really going to be on over there for NFL. All right, moving over here to our NBA. Definitely, as you can see, it's a small board. 3 games on the slate. We got to pick our poison and pick our spots correctly. Other than that, you're going to just be blowing your bankroll, things like that. As you can see, the games that we have on today's slate, really not too many. And the spreads, not too bad. The only thing that I worry about is that Nets versus Portland. If you watch the Nets lately, man, they have been abysmal. They've been a mess. Betting on them the other day was definitely a letdown. They definitely did just flop in that last game. But it's a 2-point spread in favor of Portland, 221 total in that game. So definitely some things that we can target in this one right here. And I do have a prop that I do like from that one. Then we got the Kings taking on the Spurs. 7-point spread in favor, of course, of the Kings, which is actually kind of shocking to say the Kings are favored in anything. But if you know the Spurs, they're kind of in tank mode and everything. And then we got Detroit taking on the Clippers. This game right here, another game that I'm expecting to get out of hand, and of course Vegas does as well. It's a 9-point spread in favor of the Clippers, which Clippers should be able to handily beat Detroit, especially with them missing Cade Cunningham. Looking at the injuries and things like that, really not too much that we have to worry about in regards to these teams. Biggest thing, of course, is going to be paying attention to the Clippers and whether or not PG plays or not. playing against Detroit, I kind of would expect PG to sit out this game. I wouldn't expect PG to play just because it is Detroit. They really shouldn't need him in order to beat a Detroit team. But then again, you never know with the NBA, especially with how things have been going this week. Going over here to the Nets taking on Brooklyn. The first play that I'm actually going to be looking at is going to be my guy Damian Lillard. Of course, since Dame came back, he missed a little bit of time this season, a couple of injuries and things like that. But coming back this season, Dame he's been on roll, he's been on fire. Looking at his points, of course, consistently scoring close to over 20 points, rebounding a little bit. His PRA is there. Of course, we can't see the points and rebounds because they don't track those stats and things like that. And the prop that I'm definitely going to be looking at is going to be his assist. In the last 3 games, he's either pushed or gone over this prop right here. When we look at the DVP in regards to people who are giving up a good chunk of assists to the point guard position, the Nets are third in allowing 9.5 assists to the point guard position. And then when we look over at the Vegas odds for today, Dame is a -140 to go over 6.5. Now, yes, this is sitting at 7 assists, so it's either going to push or he can go over. With them expecting this game to stay close and just how involved Damian Lillard is going to be out there, playing with shooters and Anthony Simons, you have Jeremy Grant who's been balling, Nurk down low, Josh Hart who can possibly spot up and hit a couple of shots. All that playmaking and things is going to be in Damian Lillard. And then, of course, in the crunch time, the ball is going to be in his hands. I like the 7 assists that he has in his spot right here. And then if we want to even go a little bit further and look at NBA, looking at his matchup itself, Dame, as you can see, looking at it, it says Brooklyn's only allowing 6 assists to starting point guards, but I don't believe that. Of course, he didn't play last season going up against us, but in the 2022 season, 9 assists in both of his games matched up. Now, granted, of course, this wasn't with any Ben Simmons or any of the other players that they had in the 2020 season, but we do know that Dame, he can produce at a pretty high clip, especially with shooters around him in regards to that. So I like this, especially for a push factor or for him to go over. I would definitely be taking the more on this one right here itself. Another player that I'm going to be looking at, going to stay at the point guard, is going to be my guy, De'Aaron Fox. Fox, man, this season coming in, the keys have been given to him, and he's definitely been producing at a pretty high clip out there for the Kings, leading that charge up there with some bonus. 25.5 projected points, his assists, 7, 1.5, just a good chunk of props that we can actually take, especially taking on a San Antonio Spurs team who I know that he should be able to go out there and dominate. His blocks and steals, that definitely is intriguing right there, especially because the Spurs, they are a turnover-prone team, definitely something that we can attack. But I'm looking at his assist prop, sitting at 7 assists. I know that Sabonis, he definitely can get some assists himself in regards to what he's doing out the low post, but just looking at this team and how fast they play whenever they're running on the break, getting the rebound, if Fox is getting a rebound or they're pushing out to him, he's hitting people that are cutting, or he's hitting a Herter who's standing over there in the corner and knocking down his shots. When you look at it, point guards, who's giving up the second most assists to the point guard position, that's going to be none other than the San Antonio Spurs, giving up 9.7 assists a game to the point guard position. So definitely going to be another one that I'll be looking at right there for De'Aaron Fox with his 7 assists. And as you look at it right here, they're giving up 6.9 assists is what Line Star is saying that they're doing. When you look at what he's done last season, going up against them, he had 9 assists right there in that game. And then, of course, he only had 6 assists in another game. But let's keep in mind also DeJounte Murray was playing for the Spurs back then. And definitely Trey Jones, I'm not too scared of his defense. Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, not scared of any of those defenses. And just the way that the Kings are clicking on all cylinders. I do love exactly what they're doing out there and what they've been able to go out there and produce. So De'Aaron Fox over 7 assists is going to be another one that I'm going to have a lot of interest in for today. I do think the game can possibly get out of hand, but definitely one I'm gonna have inside of my lines as I mix and match some things. And then another one that I have a slight lean on is going to be none other than my guy Harrison Barnes. This is going to be a little bit unconventional for me, but I do kind of like it just looking at stats. Now, I'm not picking this because looking at his last 5, he's gone over the 0.5 steals. In fact, actually, I'm looking at this one just specifically because looking at the small forward position and the amount of steals being given up, the Spurs, they're giving up the 4th most steals a game, 1.8 steals a game to the small forward position. And looking at Harrison Barnes over his last 13 games, he's gone over this 9 out of the last 13 games in retrospect to that. And then when you look at the small forwards that have gone up against the Spurs, most of the starting small forwards who actually play the position, Beauchamp for the Bucks, he's gotten a steal. Michael Porter Jr. in both of his games was getting a steal. Batum, he's really more of a tweener, and plus he doesn't play too many minutes. But Paul George, he's gotten a steal. OJ Anunoby, 5. Otto Porter, of course, that's off the bench. He's gotten 2. Derrick Jones Jr., 1 steal. So just looking at those guys that can really go out there and play defense and are actually out there for the defense paralysis and can can do some things. I definitely do have some interest in Harrison Barnes. I know he can stumble his way into a steal or two out there, so I will have some interest in that 0.5 steal for him to go over that as well. But yeah, that's going to be my plays for today's slate. If you guys enjoyed the content, definitely click a like, hit the subscribe button so you guys don't miss anything. I'm dropping YouTube shorts whenever I don't have the chance to do these videos like this right here, which is a lot, especially with my work schedule. But the shorts, they have been clicking and hitting. If you got the play yesterday, which was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to go over 47.5 fantasy points, he smashed that with 60 plus fantasy points last night and a game winner. So it was a really good game to watch and everything. But if you guys like the content, definitely hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you want to see my list of plays, check down the link in the description below for that Patreon, and hope to see you guys in the green.